The Peninsula Hong Kong is undisputably one of the most iconic hotels in the entire world. It has won more awards than I could even mention. It is a staple of Hong Kong hospitality and has been for 97 years. So of course, I had to do a full review. I travel around the world and review the very best hotels out of 50 points in 5 categories. The categories, like always, are the ambiance, the room, the dining, the service, and the it factor. I'm just a guest staying here for the very first time, and they did let us know that the room is officially ready. Let's take a peek at it before we see the rest of the hotel. All right, we're gonna look at the room much more in depth a little bit later in this review. We might even look at a $30,000 a night suite. But for right now, let's go take a look around the hotel. Let's kick off the ambiance segment with the grand lobby. So as soon as you walk into the hotel, there is this massive open space that has not changed for almost 100 years. This lobby is actually split. Years and years ago, they used to have what's called a tea party, where on one side of the room would be the single party, and on the other side of the room were those that were taken. It was kind of like the modern day version of a dating app where you'd come to these parties and then meet other singles to potentially move over to the taken side of the room. So they kept it the same way after all of these years. This room really is striking. It's one of the most beautiful parts of coming into this hotel, and it really does start to show you that history right out of the gate. In fact, there are over 76 gargoyle faces that are all in the crown molding and around the different pillars that are in this room. Now, these 76 different faces all have different expressions. There are many different gods and deities and different idols that they believe protect the staff and the guests, which is a theme in this hotel. So the staff that get the door for you and greet you here are called page boys. And they're called that because it literally used to be children that had that job almost 100 years ago. Now, they kept the same uniform and the same title all these years, but we'll talk about the service a little bit later in this review. Now, continuing with the ambiance section here, one of the most interesting and unique parts of this hotel is the China Clipper. It is a 2-helipad rooftop lounge location where you can literally take helicopter rides for 1,000 Hong Kong dollars per minute. The average ride is 18 minutes long. Once you land from your helicopter, you can take a ride in one of their signature Rolls Royces. There are over 20 of these in the Peninsula fleet, and they're all the same color, Peninsula green. They set the world record for the most Rolls ordered in one order in 2006, and they intend to continue to grow their fleet. Now, up on the 8th floor is the indoor, Roman-inspired heated swimming pool. And in the summer, they open up the windows here that look out into Hong Kong and the bay. It is so serene. It's a Roman bathhouse. Definitely a standout in the ambiance of the hotel. So the spa here has a menu that combines both westernized massage techniques and traditional Chinese medicine. Their signature treatment here is called the Han treatment that has pressure point dry massage mixed with scalp massage, and it's meant to be a total body reinvigoration. All right, got my Peninsula spa robe on, and here in the waiting area, they have ice that you can put all over your face or body, a crystal hammam steam room, dry sauna. So a lot to keep you busy while you're waiting for your treatment, but I can't wait for this massage. Let's go in there, see how it is, and I'll tell you all about it when it's done. Change back into my clothes here. I have one more fun thing to show you in the spa, which is the couples treatment room. Absolutely beautiful tub overlooking the harbor here. You've got real candles behind me. You've got a private treatment room that you can share. There are 14 treatment rooms here at the Peninsula, and it's just a really romantic spot. Now for the gym, and not that you'll be spending a lot of your time here during your stay, but it's not that impressive. It's pretty tightly packed in, the gear is close together, and there's almost no one here at all times of the day, and that might be why. Now the gear itself is pretty modern and technologically advanced. It does count your reps, it does count your time, but other than that, definitely have seen better gyms on this channel. Let's keep moving. Let's talk a little bit about the maintenance and the outdoor areas of the hotel. So most of the hotel, of course, is inside the building, which is segmented by the old building and the new building. However, all of the grounds are very beautiful. One thing that I really love about the Peninsula is that all of the flowers that you see throughout the hotel are real. From the major orchid displays to the flowers in the lobby, all real, all constantly being refreshed and reset on a regular basis to make sure it looks amazing. Also, the hotel looks pretty spectacular at night as well. Connected to the hotel is the Peninsula Arcade, which is a full shopping mall that's also kind of a ghost town. There's international brands, but also a few that you may know, like Chanel, for example, but most of this shopping mall is in the basement of the hotel, and it's just kind of oddly placed here. Again, we've seen shopping malls like at the Shilla that are done really, really well. This one is elegant, and it definitely complements the hotel, but I don't feel like this is a big selling point for staying here. There are literally hundreds of high-end items here in the boutique that are all branded the Peninsula. It's probably the largest assortment of hotel-branded items that I've ever seen at any one of these stays. The Halekulani came close with their gift shop and how everything was branded Halekulani in Hawaii, but I think the Peninsula has them beat. And the items that they have here are high quality. They're really well made, and the Peninsula branding is very subtle. So I think they've done it very well. Plus, this feels like a high fashion, almost jewelry boutique when you're here. Even the little cups that they have are branded the Peninsula. That's amazing. Wow, is that good? What the heck? So those were all of the public spaces here at the Peninsula, and it's time to give it a final ambiance score. What better place to do that than here on the helipad again? So the Peninsula has a lot of places like this that make your jaw just drop. That Rolls-Royce fleet, that Roman bath area they have, all truly beautiful. On the flip side of things, the gym is definitely far from the most aesthetic or beautiful or updated that we've seen. It's also not the best spa or the best treatments that we've seen as well, and they're not the most interesting. Other than that, it was very hard to find anything to be critical of in the ambiance. I love the old, I love the new, they blended them beautifully together. I gave the ambiance an 8.5 out of 10. There are 300 rooms here at the Peninsula, and 52 of those are suites. We're going to take a look at the base level room first, and then I'm going to show you 2 of the really high-end suites here. This base level room goes anywhere between $500 to $700 US per night at the time of filming this, and the room card they give you has the door gods on it that you saw at the beginning of this video, which are the Chinese gods that protect the guests of this hotel. It's also got that Peninsula green on there, so just continues the motif and theme through the hotel. Let's look in the room. All right, so unfortunately, the first thing that hits you when you walk in the room is not the beauty of the room, it's the smell of mold. They definitely are dealing with a mold/mildew issue in the Peninsula. Now, it's humid, it rains a lot in Hong Kong, it's an old building, it can happen. But I know many of you watching may have allergies to mold or mildew, and that will make it for a really tough stay. The bed is very large. We're gonna test that in just a minute, and of course I'm gonna sleep in it tonight and give it a score in the morning. But my favorite thing about this room are the little hidden quirks and features. There are many little interesting things in here that I have truly never seen. I want to show you all of those, and then we'll get to the shower and the bed test. Number one, the Valet box. So you push this button, opens up, you open this, and there's a Valet collection box that goes right into the hallway here, so someone can come by without coming in your room and deliver things or pick things up. Very interesting feature, especially in a base level room. Over here on the writing desk, the first is this button right here. Opens up a full mirror with lights on either side. It's very dramatic, very slow. Push it again, put it down. And also over here in this drawer is a nail dryer. So this is a modern nail dryer you take off, set down, and you can dry your nails in case you gave yourself a manicure in the room. Two more over here. The coffee machine has a little digital display to tell you more about the Nespresso. And down below, there's a full fax machine in the room, just in case you need to scan and send some faxes while you're staying at the Peninsula. No, that is not all. You push this button here that says press, and an even more dramatic and slow charging area pops out. Slightly less strange, but still interesting. This area behind me looks like there may not be anything there, but watch this. Open here, the TV. Down here, your snacks and amenities and glassware. This side is your bar. This already was opened. So everything here is also quite hidden. Down below in the minibar area, while we're here, there's really not much. You've got Kettle Honey Dijon chips, sea salt and vinegar chips, and some Peninsula gummy bears. One of the weakest minibars I've seen. When you have opportunities in Hong Kong for incredible minibar items that I'm sure a lot of vendors and suppliers in the area would love to work with the Peninsula on. You've had 97 years to do it. You can definitely do better than Kettle chips. Down below it says snacks. You open it up and it's only alcohol in this drawer, which is for purchase. In the minibar itself, very simple drinks. Waters, tonic water, Sprite, Coke, Red Bull. Nothing too interesting or exciting in the minibar. Now into the bathroom. As I mentioned, there are a couple quirky things in here as well, which mainly revolve around these old phones. So by the sink and by the toilet, there are these metal phones that you can call the front desk. There's also the tissue holder, which is worked into the marbling here. And then you have two mirrors, one on each side. It's just a kind of strange room in general. Even stranger is the shower. Let's give it a test. The shower test is 3 criteria points. That is the size, the ease of use, and the pressure. Size-wise, it is decent, although there's not a lot of room to move around in here. And the ease of use is okay, although I really had to figure out how to use this. Let me show you. So this turns the shower on, both of these, but that turns on the hand faucet. To actually turn on the shower, you have to pull this out. And it's very hard to pull this out. This does nothing. You have to actually pull it out of the wall to be able to get the top shower to go. And then still this is dripping over here. So not very easy to use at all. Now the pressure is where this shower really fails the test. Never have I stayed somewhere where the shower pressure is so strong that I actually don't want to get in the shower, and that's the case here. It feels like a fire hose or like you are being power washed every time you get in. I feel exfoliated because of how hard the pressure is in the shower. It's gotten to the point now where it's uncomfortable and I don't want to actually use it. Let me show you what I'm talking about with this as well. It looks like you can change the shower head pressure here, right? You can spin it and that will change it. No, this doesn't change at all. You cannot change the shower head. It's locked in place. So you have to take an extremely high pressure shower. So look how high pressure this is. It's literally pushing back my finger. Wow. I've never seen a shower like that. Also, the plumbing is quite old, so when you turn on the shower, it gargles through the sink as well, which just makes the entire thing, again, unpleasant. So that is the base level room, but as I mentioned, there are 2 other penthouse suites here. Let's take a look at those and then combine all of them for that final room score. The first of the 2 top suites here at the Peninsula that I want to show you is the Marco Polo suite. So this goes for $20,000 US per night as of this recording. And personally, I'm not sure that it's worth it. It's 2 bedrooms. Yes, all of the materials are very high quality, but there are even higher level suites here at the hotel, like the Peninsula suite that we'll see next, and $20,000 a night is a lot. However, there are some incredible details, like the amenities that you receive complimentary when you stay here include these boxes with little soaps that you can take home. So this is a really nice perk to the room, but I don't know, you decide. Is it worth $20,000 a night? Let's take a look at the Peninsula suite. Welcome to the Peninsula suite here at the Peninsula. So for an additional $10,000 a night, you get this. This is the technical penthouse of this hotel, and it is huge, but there's only 1 bedroom. Similar amenities to what we saw in the last suite. A lot of the materials are similar, but you can just tell everything is very elevated. You are truly above the city of Hong Kong with the best views in the best room that you could possibly have. And as a bonus, it's the only room I've been in so far at the Peninsula that doesn't smell like water damage or mold. So that is a big plus. Back in the standard room now, it's time to change and get ready for sleep. So I'm about to sleep in this bed and wake up and give it a final room score in the morning. But before I do that, I want to call the front desk and order room service breakfast for a set time. A little later in the service review portion of this, we're going to see if it showed up on time and if the food was hot and fresh. I always order the same thing. Let's call the front desk.
Evening private dining, how may I assist you?
Hi there, could I order breakfast for tomorrow morning, please?
Certainly. What would you like, Mr. Walker?
Could I order a black coffee and an Eggs Benedict, please?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. And then could I do that for 7 a.m.?
Deliver at 7 a.m.
Yes, that's perfect.
You're welcome and have a good night. Bye-bye.
And you as well. Bye-bye. Let's get some sleep. Okay, so the bed is quite firm. The mattress itself is more like a brick than a mattress, but I will say the duvet cover and the sheets and the pillows especially are so soft. Not the ideal balance here and definitely far from the best bed that I've slept in. Let's get dressed and give it a room score. So I want to start with the negatives. That bed was very firm and was not the best night's sleep. The shower test was definitely not passed. The mini bar was lacking creativity and innovation, and of course that mold smell. But on the positive side, there were some very interesting things in this room that I have not seen before. I really loved those little hidden secrets and discovering them throughout my stay. It's also a well-designed room. And if you include the Peninsula Suite and the Marco Polo Suite, they really do have an incredible eye for design. The views here are spectacular when it's not raining like today, and the welcome amenities are really wonderful. In fact, there was a couple different amenities throughout the stay that they brought and gave to the room, including a bottle of non-alcoholic champagne and these grapes that look like something straight out of Beauty and the Beast, and have been tempting me literally since they put them in here. With all of that in mind, I gave the room a 7.5 out of 10. Getting into the dining here, there are 7 restaurants at the Peninsula. There is also a full bar and a cafe. So like always, I'm gonna try all of them and then give it a final dining score. Good morning from the veranda. So this is their all-day breakfast, lunch, and dinner buffet option here. And the buffet is looking really incredible. So it's maybe not as large as others that we've seen like at the Four Seasons in Seoul, but it does have a very high quality, very well presented array of items to choose from. So the displays here in the buffet are really beautiful. I love how they put the spices out here. So this is their Indian section. And I'll say there's a couple of dishes that maybe aren't as appetizing as the others, but some of them that are amazing. Overall, a very strong start to the dining segment here at the Peninsula. Now we are here in Spring Moon, which is a 1 Michelin-starred Cantonese restaurant at the Peninsula. They are famous for two things. Number one is the XO sauce, which they bottle and introduce to all of China. So if you're familiar with that, we're gonna try it right here. And number two is their handmade custard mooncakes, which are so popular, they've actually begun packaging them and selling them as well. So they have a tea sommeliers heating up the little teacups to then be presented as a flavor enhancer for the dish that we're about to be served.
If you've seen the channel, you know I am a big fan of tea, and I think this is one of the most beautiful presentations that you could have for a tea experience.
So before the multi-course lunch that they have here, they bring out a cold brew tea. So it looks like champagne, but it's actually a tea. So there's now been two different types of tea that have been placed. I want to really quickly talk about the glassware. The incredible attention to detail that they have here. These are created by the Peninsula, so you can't really get these anywhere. Oh, wow. One thing with jasmine, it can very easily become astringent. It just means that you're oversteeping the tea leaves, whether it's cold or hot. And this is a very, very smooth jasmine tea. So I've been very impressed with the tea selection. This is a mango pudding. It's not the most aesthetic, but let's hope the flavor comes through here on it. Okay. One thing about Hong Kong, if you haven't been, it is on an island. So it's a very modern city, but it's a very tropical, very vibrant, natural environment as well, where they have tropical fruits. So this is their very famous fried rice with XO sauce. It has a very delicate depth of flavor. Smokiness to it, the XO sauce, of course, which I have to be honest, I'm not sure if I could identify that flavor specifically, but you've seen a couple of Michelin restaurants in hotels that I've put on this channel in the past, and sometimes you leave those still very much hungry. That is not the case here at the Spring Moon. So now we have a crispy chicken smoked with tea leaf. This kind of reminds me of the Peking duck that we had in Seoul, just the skin specifically. That really hit the spot. That's what I needed. Very tender chicken. The tea leaves give it a nice herbal, kind of herbaceous base to it. Wow, another hit for Spring Moon. So back in the lobby, this is where they serve their legendary afternoon tea. So they actually brought the afternoon tea to Hong Kong for the very first time almost 100 years ago. It remains a massive tradition here in the hotel and is very, very popular, so I have to give it a try. And I will say at first glance, I'm a little bit underwhelmed with the bread that was used here and some of the other things, but you never know until you try it. So I'm gonna hold judgment till we get through all of these different trays here. Let's dive into this. So you've got three different tiers here. You've got your top tier, which is desserts, your middle tier, which is your finger foods, and then you have the scones. The most iconic, the most famous are these scones, and they have been for 100 years. They truly have not changed this recipe for 100 years. Wow, so soft, smells incredible. I can already tell this is a big difference from what we had at the Signal afternoon tea in Seoul, South Korea. Wow. That is such an incredible flavor. It's like a honey sweet bread. It's so dense. It's not too dry. It's very fluffy. That is how you do a scone with afternoon tea. And it makes sense why they haven't changed the recipe in almost 100 years. We have salmon on what looks like a hamburger bun with a lettuce leaf and a little bit of radish on top. Again, I just think that there's really an opportunity here for refinement, elevation, and visual improvement, but that is a very nice flavor. So fresh, really tasty. Last but not least, here we have our cup of strawberries that have this glitter, like edible glitter that they put on top of it. Look, you can't go wrong with strawberries and cream. One of the best flavors, I think, on this planet. My overall thoughts on the tea set is that it is traditional, and they've stuck to the traditional way of doing an afternoon tea. So maybe some room and some opportunity for improvement. Now, the last lunch location here is Imasa, which is a Japanese light bites restaurant. They have sushi and sashimi. They brought out the appetizer dish, which is on this beautiful tray. So it's tomato, it's white shrimp, tofu, and abalone. That is really special. You can tell when you have really great sashimi. It's not overpowering, doesn't taste like the ocean. That's what you've got here. Really light and lovely. I would have this breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So being from California, I did order the California roll to see. There's some very nice roe on the outside. Look how beautiful that is. You have a nice little edible flower. There's a lot of roe on that. The thing with roe is I love it on top of sushi rolls. It can be a little bit fishy if you have a lot. So it is literally coating the outside of the sushi roll for that one. It's a little bit overpowering on that flavor. The highlight, funnily enough, of this display here is the wasabi. Don't know what to tell you. They just really got that right. So it's now time for a quick coffee break here in the Peninsula Cafe and Boutique. So this is a adorable little cafe that they have here that has an aquamarine teal color about it. It has a beautiful design. Again, very distinct from the rest of the hotel and also quite far from everything else in the hotel. So this is located in the Peninsula Arcade, which you saw earlier in this review. And it's a full coffee shop here that's very quiet and very peaceful. There's a separate menu here at the Peninsula Boutique, and most of it revolves around sourdough bread or mango. So it depends on the season, that does change. Order the most popular drink, which is their mango fizzy drink. And you can see here the presentation is really beautiful. There's a little bear that's made out of porcelain with the peninsula on top. Looks like some mango ice cream and some mint. Here we go. See if it tastes as good as it looks. Whoa. So interesting. There's really thick pieces of mango in there and it's sparkling, so it actually is fizzy. Not my favorite drink, I think, just because of the chunks in there kind of give it a weird texture, but a great flavor. The ice cream is actually more of a custard. Now it's time for the main event, the dinners. We're here in Grande's, which is a 71-year-old Michelin-starred French restaurant. I'm gonna try one of the most popular things on the menu, their Wagyu steak. Wow. Beautiful presentation. So this is the Wagyu steak. It's one of the most popular things on the menu here at Grande's. Everything is beautifully plated. Honestly, you don't even need the béarnaise or really any of the garnish on here. This is such an incredible cut. Wow. So that is a A5 Wagyu. It's medium rare. There's a couple of little side dishes here. So they have some little mini mushrooms, almost a little cannoli, but it's actually a crispy potato with some edible flowers on the top. Very crunchy, soft, flavorful inside. If I lived in Hong Kong, and I would come here all the time just for this dish. This is truly excellent. Yet another hit for the Peninsula in the dining segment here. So the word Chesa actually means inn, and it definitely feels like a cozy, traditional Swiss chalet in here. One thing that's interesting is that it looks like there are windows, but they actually aren't real. So it gives you that kind of quiet and dark, intimate feeling when you're dining here. So as they're coming around pouring water, I noticed that the glassware that they use are different Swiss Alps. So these are actually mountains from Switzerland in the glass itself, which is such a cool and unique detail here in the restaurant. There's a lot of that throughout this room. So this is one of their two most famous dishes here. This is the raclette, which is a type of cheese that has potato on top. And you're supposed to smash the potato into the cheese, wrap it in, and then give it a try. So here we go. Wow, is that good. Really great cheese for that potato though. So here we have it, the star of the show. This is the cheese fondue, the main course here. And they come out with a couple of interesting sides, which I'm a little shocked about. So this is just cooked macaroni. Looks like maybe boiled potatoes on the side here, just very plain, which is interesting. I'm assuming the cheese has a really strong flavor. So maybe the potatoes and macaroni are meant to just kind of complement that with something to dip it in. And then of course you have the traditional bread. Significantly different flavor than I expected. You can taste a little bit of the bacon, but there's a lot of undertones to the flavor of the fondue. The cheese almost tastes like it was cooked with wine. It has an almost alcoholic taste to it. Definitely different than I expected. I think it's a more traditional fondue than any that I've ever had, and I definitely like it. It's also very heavy, so just keeping that in mind. You have a whole pot of this and you're gonna be wheeled out of here. What a distinct and different restaurant to offer here. I mean, truly, for breakfast, you can have Cantonese food at the buffet over at the veranda, and then for dinner, come over here and have Swiss as if you're in the Alps. It's really impressive. I haven't seen many hotels like that. So if that very Swiss dinner wasn't enough, they just brought out their signature dessert here. Look at this. It's a little house made out of chocolate with a pistachio base around it to look like grass. And then they give you chocolate sauce that you drizzle on top of the house. I have to see what's inside, so. Wow, there you go. So the surprise is, inside is vanilla ice cream. That is a cool dessert. So before we sit down for dinner at Felix here, I want to get a cocktail at the molecular bar. So they use this chemistry equipment behind me to make some of their drinks, and I ordered a pretty interesting one, what they say is the most popular. We are still in the Peninsula Hotel, mind you, and this restaurant feels like I have completely been transported to a futuristic, modern restaurant and bar. I heard the menu is also very different as well. One thing that's cool about the restaurant here is that all of the chairs have the faces of the staff of the Peninsula that have been here for more than 20 years. So once you've been at the Peninsula for more than 20 years, they put your picture on one of the chairs in Felix. And there are a lot of chairs in this room. So before we go to the bar and give it that final dining score, I want to add two little bonuses for you. So this is inside a Michelin-starred kitchen. Now we've looked inside Michelin kitchens before, but remember every chef does it a little bit differently. I also want to show you something they call the chocolate room. So in this room, they create custom by-hand chocolate creations for guests for various celebrations like New Year's or birthdays or weddings, and everything here is made by hand using these two chocolate mixers right in front of you. Really an amazing room that you don't see very often at a hotel. Let's go to the bar. Now, the primary bar here at the Peninsula is called The Bar. They have live music every single night, including a pianist and sometimes jazz. It's a very comfortable, cozy, dark wood, dark leather kind of lounge feel. It actually feels completely separate from the hotel, totally different than the rest of the interior. They have some very unique cocktails on the menu, like the Long Life Elixir here, which I absolutely have to try. Whew, that was a lot of dining here at the Peninsula. An incredibly impressive, diverse display of culinary art in all of the different restaurants here. My only critique is that not every dish was extraordinary. There were a couple that maybe could have been taken a look at in the buffet or in some of the dishes at the Felix, for example, but really it is hard to critique when that's only about 5% of all of the meals that I had. You saw the plating, the presentation, the serving, everything was top-notch. I gave the dining here at the Peninsula a 9 out of 10. Now, let's talk about the service, which is a very important part of any luxury stay. All right. It is 6:54, so they arrived 6 minutes early with the breakfast service test here. This is the Eggs Benedict and the hot coffee that I ordered last night. It is looking very appetizing, minimalistic. It has a zucchini and another kind of squash here. The coffee has this perfectly clean silver polish to it. So a fun fact about the silver here, they use over 20,000 pieces of silverware every single day here at the Peninsula, and someone polishes them by hand to be used. They have over 40,000 in their collection. They have a little marker here that says coffee. This one says cream. Let's test how fresh it is. Whew, very hot. Very good. They definitely passed the breakfast service test. In fact, this is the first hotel on the channel where the breakfast has arrived before the time that it was expected. We won't know the official service score, however, until we do that service test. Now, the service test is the part of the review where I call the front desk and ask for something a little bit strange that they're not used to accommodating. I've asked for a lot of strange things on the channel in the past, and it's more about if they're able or willing to accommodate it rather than actually accomplishing it. Here at the Peninsula, you saw that chocolate room, which really got me thinking. Who you didn't meet is the head chocolatier, who is really the Willy Wonka of the Peninsula and claims he can make anything out of chocolate. So I put this survey out to all of you to see what you think we should have him make, and this was the winner. Let's give him a call.
How can I help you?
So I was actually wondering if you could make a camera out of chocolate.
Let me quickly check with the chocolate room.
Is it possible to have that set up in the room as well?
Once it's ready, we can send to the room, but will be late afternoon today.
Okay, great. So he is able to make a camera and bring it up to the room.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Thank you.
Pretty cool. Let's go talk about the service at the hotel in general and then come back and see what a camera made out of chocolate looks like. A couple things that happened in the hotel. I needed a scissors to cut something and they delivered it on a silver tray with a nice fabric underneath it. Another time, something happened with my camera during filming and the microphone stopped working. One of the staff offered to go all the way to the store and pick up the thing that I needed and just bill it to the room at the exact price with no surcharge or anything extra. Every staff that I've interacted with or come into contact with has been so kind and so nice. They greet you by your last name, escort you everywhere you need to go, For example, even in the bathroom, which of course I didn't film, there's a staff in every single men's room throughout the hotel, making sure you have a hand towel and everything that you need. Sometimes the hotel was truly empty and they would still have areas like that staffed. Anywhere that you go in the hotel, anywhere in the restaurant, they are always accommodating, always thinking of ways to go out of their way to support you. All right, so back in the room to see if they set up our chocolate camera. What is this here? So they set out a record from the Gaudi's restaurant. That's amazing. All right, let's see if we have our camera. Wow, look at this. Oh, this is beautiful. You've got to be kidding me about that. Wow. Very impressive pass for the service test here. Not only did they make a camera as requested by all of you, they also put Ryan's travel journal, and I'm at a loss for words. Look at that. Wow. It even says the Peninsula on the front of it. He really is the Willy Wonka of the Peninsula. But I think we do have to give it a try because that's what it was made for, right? I feel like to be respectful, I have to eat the whole thing. What an incredible life experience that was. I'm blown away. Did not think they'd be able to do that here at the Peninsula, but they really did. That was one of the best service test results I've ever seen. And truly, I wish I could have taken it home, but that's the second best option. One thing that I didn't mention earlier is when I went downstairs to walk around a little bit and to talk about the service at the hotel while this was getting made, they did tell me that this would be $300 US for this display. Now, the display was already set up at that point. It was already far past the point where I could have said no, and I'm not complaining at all. I am totally happy to pay that, but they definitely should have checked beforehand on the phone to make sure that the price made sense for the piece. Definitely not that big of a deal. Let's give it an official service score. So as you saw already, they absolutely knocked the service test completely out of the park. They were also early with the breakfast service test, which has never been done before in any of these hotel reviews. Generally around the hotel, they were always extraordinarily attentive, supportive, helpful, and they were overstaffed everywhere, which is a really nice touch. There were only a few minor things that I would adjust. Compared to other luxury hotels, it did feel like there was an air of stress amongst the staff. I've been places where the staff feel joyous and happy to be there, and that wasn't as much the case here at the Peninsula, but it was a minor difference. Additionally, there wasn't enough waters in the room. It felt like I was always asking for more water or trying to find waters around the hotel. And there was no welcome drink when you first check in, which is just a small detail, but it can make a big difference when you're dehydrated from a long flight from Los Angeles, for example. With all of this in mind, but all of the really exceptional things standing out, I gave the service a 9 out of 10. Now for the it factor. The it factor is that special thing about a hotel that you can't really put your finger on. It's the indescribables, the thing that you want to tell your friends and family about, or the reason why you keep coming back. Part of the it factor of the hotel is also the value, and the price point per night is quite high for the city of Hong Kong, but it's not the highest in the city. You also have access to some of their facilities like the pool here that you saw earlier, the Rolls-Royce fleet, but many of those things are actually for purchase. Now, the things that are included here in the hotel include yoga and some fitness activities, but they are pretty sparse in the calendar, and we've seen much better activities at other hotels that are complimentary, like in Costa Rica, for example. So you saw the Rolls-Royce fleet earlier in this review, and now we are inside of one. These Rolls-Royces can be booked for anywhere between 2,500 to 4,800 Hong Kong dollars per hour, and they'll take you anywhere you want to go in Hong Kong. One other fun thing about this Rolls-Royce is the seats back here not only are incredibly comfortable, I mean, there's a very plush carpet underneath my shoes, they also have a massage function that you can literally turn on and get a massage while you're driving through Hong Kong. I've never seen something like this at a luxury hotel before where the house car is this caliber and they have this many of them. Now, before I give the Peninsula an official It Factor score, I want to say a special thank you to the Peninsula team who went way out of their way to make sure I could film the most comprehensive review possible. They opened every single door and I am incredibly grateful. Now, for the It Factor, some of the things that you didn't see at this hotel include the facade of the building actually changing throughout the year. So during the holidays, they wrap the front in this blue ribbon that you see here, and during Chinese New Year, it's red lanterns. Generally speaking, you really do have a sense of place when you're staying here. It has a lot of gravitas and power here in the city of Hong Kong. I gave the It Factor a 7.5 out of 10. So there you have it. That was the Peninsula Hotel. I was very impressed with this stay. They have definitely refined this hotel over the course of 100 years of history. I recommend it next time you're in the city. Unfortunately, it is time to check out now and give it that final score out of 50. So if you total together all of the numbers throughout this review, I gave the Peninsula Hotel here in Hong Kong a 41 out of 50. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ryan Walker, and we'll see you on the next one.